Hello and welcome to the FitzQ podcast. I'm your host, Fitzyhere, joined, of course, by KarQ.
What's up, guys?
And tonight we are joined by some very special guests. We have Aspen and Fran. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Doing pretty good.
So for those who don't know who these two are, could you guys just give people a brief 30-second introduction on who you guys are, starting with Fran?
Yes, I'm an Overwatch streamer for Atlanta Reign, and I'm currently on a Contenders Trials team with Aspen called Revival. And yeah, that's pretty much who I am. That's what I spend a lot of my time doing, playing Overwatch.
I'm also an Overwatch streamer, though I don't do it as much anymore. I still like playing occasionally, and yeah, on the Revival Contenders Trials team with Fran.
Awesome. Now, you guys might be a little worn out tonight because had to kind of work around your schedule because you had some scrims tonight, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Going pretty good so far?
Yeah, we are actually learning a lot. It's crazy because I never really got to compete like as intense as I wanted to, but now like I'm on like a legit team with like coaches and people who are really hungry, and it feels really good.
Yeah, the teammates are really amazing. Like, major shout out to everyone who's like been super helpful on the team.
Like, if you had to compare the ranked experience to what you guys have been going through the past couple of weeks or months, you know, scrimming competitively, how like what's the biggest difference you see immediately?
Oh my god.
So much, dude.
Like, people actually listen, like when you make a call, or like for example, if someone's like flanking me and I'm like screaming like help me, help me, help me, everyone turns around. But in ranked, they just leave you out to dry and die.
Yeah, and people are out of comms. You got one tricks locking off meta characters, and people push 1v6. Like, there's a huge difference.
So how is that with going back to playing the ladder? Because I mean, I feel like once you've gone to the scrim life, then playing the ladder almost feels like pretty bad.
It made ranked for me a lot more comical. Like, I'm just like, this is a joke. Like, you guys are all trash. Like, this is dumb. But it gave me like, it gives me motivation to grind my mechanics. So I think having a good balance of ranked and scrims is really healthy.
That's what ranked is really good for sure.
Now, what do you think about the hero pool wise, right? Because I mean, you mentioned off meta and whatnot, and scrims, the meta's pretty strict, I would assume. Again, you know, I don't really scrim myself, but you hear a lot of the Overwatch League pros and any of the people who've done scrims that they're like, no, we need to run these 6 heroes or these 7 heroes. That's it. That's like,
yeah.
How relevant is that in, you know, are you guys in nail jail? Are you on playing any Ana or back or anything?
I am. It's more so like, if you don't play the meta, you pretty much have a higher chance of losing. So both teams want to play the meta, and both teams wants to perfect the meta. So like, we want to actually play the meta. Like, I don't mind playing Moira if it's with my team, but in ranked, I obviously want to go Ana all the time.
Right, but do you guys feel like you guys experiment a little bit with your team? Like, obviously, you know, Moira is quite meta and nail gel, but do you guys ever take time to be like, hey, should we try this during a scrim? Should we try?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes. We'll, like, swap the DPS. I knew it. Okay, yeah, we'll swap DPS around. Sometimes, you know, I'll go Mercy from Lucio, but you know, I like playing Lucio the most.
It's more so that I don't think we're perfect at our meta, like the current meta right now. So we're just like constantly trying it over and over again, and like trying different ways to approach fights and stuff with the current meta. But sometimes we, you know, do something new and then we get stomped and then we're like, okay, go back to the meta.
Default.
Now, so you mentioned one tricks again, and as someone who, you know, I play a fair amount of Samba right there, and you know, constantly perfecting it, playing it over and over again. Now, do you think, because I mean, you guys pretty much one trick a composition almost, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So do you think the learning style or reasonings are the same there for why someone would do that, or do you think there's more involved?
Right now, I think it's kind of easier to one trick the meta because we need to learn a lot more than just the meta. You know, we need to learn map control, teamwork, trusting your teammates, like all these other aspects that defaulting to meta is easy because you're trying to like figure out all those other things first.
Cool. Well, before we get too, I guess, into those topics, let's take a step back and how did you guys get to where you're at with gaming? You know, what was the first game that you played? Did you play when you were super young, or how did you guys get into gaming?
So for me, I started gaming when I was like very young. Like I had a Leapfrog, we had an Xbox. My brother played on an Xbox. A Leapfrog.
What's
yeah,
that?
So it's like
Boomer.
that. It's like a screen and it's for kids and there's like kid games. But yeah, I had like Game Boy, Wii, and I don't know my first game, but like, I played Melee and I played a lot of Call of Duty and just like random little child games. But I've been doing it ever since and I've loved it ever since.
For me, I've been playing video games since as long as I can remember. I think my very first game was Perfect Dark on the Nintendo 64. I was a huge FPS person. My parents were always working, so we always had babysitters, and one of the babysitters, she had sons, and they all played video games, like the original Counter-Strike and everything. And so that's how I got really, really into video games. And then I remember I played RuneScape, and someone told me about
yeah.
I did. I'm a huge fan of old school RuneScape, and someone on that game mentioned MLG, Major League Gaming, to me. And I looked into it, and there was like a Halo tournament. So that's how I got into Halo. I was like, oh man, I want to be a pro player so bad.
Right.
So that's how my competitiveness and my gaming kind of spiked.
So with the gaming and whatnot, just because you're a gamer doesn't mean that you get to become a streamer, if you will. What led you kind of down the streaming route?
So basically, I was playing Overwatch for like a couple months already before I started streaming, and like I was pretty high rated, and I was a Mercy one trick, all right, and I'd get
we know
No.
I would just get in games, right, and people would be like, "Oh, Aspen, the Mercy one trick, do you stream?" And I'd be like, "No, but I have a channel," and people started following that, and I would be told like, "Yo, start streaming," and I'm like, "All right, heck it." So one day I just did it, and then I stuck with it. And then, transferred from real high school to online school so I could do it more consistently. And yeah.
Now, you said that you transferred because of streaming?
Mainly. And also, like, school sucks a lot. And, like, 8 hours of my day, like, I wanted to be gaming all day. Like, I loved it that much. Like, Overwatch was my life when I came home.
Mm-hmm.
How did your parents take that?
Yeah.
It took a while to convince them, like, why I wanted to leave. But, once they saw my stream, they were, like, very understanding. And now they're, like, super supportive. And that makes me super happy.
Aww.
Yeah,
that's actually really sweet. Yeah.
Fran, did you have what led you into streaming?
So back when I was 16, I was playing competitive Halo, and this was before Twitch TV was a thing. It used to be called Justin TV.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to find a way to record my VODs and like look back and like see how I can improve, because I was taking it pretty seriously. And then to do that, there was no like OBS where you can like start recording. Like, you just have to go live and then look at the past broadcast. Right. So I would just record or go live, and then over time, like, I saw someone join my chat, and I was like, wait, there's people talking in here? What's going on? Like, they actually see what I'm doing, and it's like so cringe and embarrassing. And then like I said, over time, more people came, and then I had to go to college, so I was on and off streaming during college. And then it wasn't until I graduated college at the same time that Overwatch got released. And I was like, oh, snap, it's time to take the leap of faith.
All right.
So do you think that switching games, because obviously, you played Halo before, and how much of your audience followed you, or did you did you have a large audience before that? And how did switching games kind of affect your stream or your mentality and whatnot?
I didn't really have much of a large audience before Overwatch. Some people followed, like I have some 60 plus month subscribers,
Wow.
but just like a few, like 2 or 3. Other than that, it was kind of starting from scratch. Yeah.
Like you started streaming which games again? I
started with Halo.
Halo, right?
Yes, and then League of Legends.
Right.
And then Overwatch. Yeah.
So 3 games, and then Aspen, you just kind of started right away with Overwatch, right? Like as recent as last year or 2 years ago. Compared to
it was 2 years ago.
Now, how was didn't you do some Splatoon 2 or something, or some? Didn't you do some with Splatoon?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean, I got a Switch, right, and I played it like for a variety, but I didn't come from Splatoon.
I for some reason when that was coming out, you're like, yes, Splatoon. I swear I came by your stream and you were like so excited for it. I was like, is she like an ex-Splatoon pro or something? I don't know that.
No, ex-Minecraft pro.
Oh.
Have you tried Overwatch on the Switch yet or no?
No.
I have. Okay. It's terrible.
Yeah, I heard. Well, if you played Splatoon, it's like the gyro controls, right? And I
don't use
tried
gyro.
It. Oh, you don't?
No, not for Splatoon. I just like the.
She's too pro for gyro.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta like move your hands a lot. That's like gamers don't do that, man.
Yeah. Well, you have to move your body. You have to shimmy a little bit while you play.
Exactly.
As far as I can tell.
What I do.
Oh God.
See, what are they coming out with? Like the new Fit thing? It's like Fit Disc or something, or
like what is that?
There's some sort
of. Is that a game?
It's kind of like with the Fit Wii Fit Volume 2, I would say. I don't know.
Okay, Wii Fit's fun though.
Yeah, for normies.
No. As a kid, yeah.
No, Wii Fit Trainer's sick in Smash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She makes you touch your toes.
She does. Okay, so moving on from that. What do you tell your extended family now when they ask you about what you do? Obviously, I think Aspen, you said your parents know what you do now, but like, let's say somebody outside and they ask you what you do. What's your first answer to them or first response? I mean, how do you explain it to them?
That's like the hardest thing because, gaming is new. So I'll just be like, yeah, so I play a game live for viewers and people who want to watch. And they'll typically ask about the game. So I like summarize Overwatch really quickly. And they'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'll compare it to like sports, like live sports. Because, comparing gaming and sports is how you get the older people to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but why do people watch you? Why don't they just play it themselves?
So they can, maybe they want to improve. Maybe it's for entertainment. Like, why do people watch YouTube? Why don't they just do stuff themselves? Why don't they, skydive themselves?
Yeah, why don't you just make your own swimming pool out of the dirt? Have you guys gotten that on your recommended feed where you see those?
Oh, wait,
no?
The kid.
No, not even the kid. They're just carving out full swimming pools in like the middle of like empty land. You've never seen those?
I've never seen that.
There's no Fran, you've never seen those?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
People, okay. The listeners later on will be like, "Oh, I've seen that on a recommended feed." I just searched it up. They each and every single one of them have like 30 million views on YouTube. It's actually insane what these guys are doing.
Stuff's on TikTok too. Yeah, I see.
Why don't you just go make that?
Yeah,
true.
Crazy.
Fran, I'm sure you have similar with telling the stories.
Yeah, it's difficult for me because there's a big language barrier. My parents don't speak really good English. They're Vietnamese. And they're very old school and traditional. And so my dad is a huge sports fan, so it's easier for him to understand it. But for the rest of my family, I kind of just say I do YouTube because they know what YouTube is and it just makes it easy.
I think that's one of my points is like, hey, so everyone knows what YouTube is. So it's just that, but it's live and you can talk to people. So
yeah, exactly.
Everyone
it's
watches
a different
YouTube.
platform. Yeah, everyone watches YouTube.
True.
Okay.
So going into professional sports now. You've done the streaming. Now, Fran, you said you were competitive before with Halo and whatnot. So has that been always something through Overwatch that you've like, okay, I'm doing the streaming thing, but that's my end goal is I really want to compete?
Yes. So yeah, like I said, when I was 16, I've always wanted to be a pro player in Halo, and I like tried really hard, and I actually made it to like semi-pro, like pretty much contenders. And then I hit 18 years old, and my parents were like, you can't make a living off of this. You need to go to college. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to give up my like aspirations to go to college. And they're very strict. So I pretty much didn't really have a choice. And so I went to college. And then as soon as I graduated, I was like, okay, I got you the degree. I'm going to play video games now. Bye. And I moved out. I live on my own now. And at first I moved out to join make a contenders team or open division team. And then in the meantime, I was streaming, and then I got invited to the Diva event, the Nano Cola Spray Challenge. Right. And my stream blew up from that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to make way more money streaming than playing competitively. So that's what I ended up doing. I ended up streaming. And then recently I was like, I'm bored of this streaming crap. I want to play. Like, I want to compete. I want to try to live like my dreams that I've always wanted since I was a teenager. So that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome.
When you were in college, did you do your best to try to balance like keeping up competitively? Like, did you keep playing Halo? I think you said you played League, so I assume you played a lot of League during college days, but...
Yeah, I played Halo until Halo started dying. Okay. And then that's when I found League of Legends, which is so funny. This is kind of random, but my cousin showed me League of Legends when it was in beta. And the first thing I said was, this game looks so freaking stupid. It's not going to go anywhere.
Anybody who plays League always says that first.
And he's like, it's so fun. Like, it's like an easier version of Dota. I'm like, no, this is going to be trash. Like, no one's going to like it. And then like years later, I'm addicted and I'm streaming it and it's huge. So I definitely ate my words there. But anyways, so
do you ever try to go back to League, or have you ever like tried to play it?
No, I quit completely because I was so freaking toxic. I mean,
really?
Really, it was really bad. Like, I really hope that no one digs up any chat logs from my League days, because I was a little trash can. I was talking a lot of smack, and I was so toxic. So I had to get away.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Dota has I've played a fair amount of Dota myself, which is the not knockoff league. And yeah, it's funny because I think that Dota's like more toxic than Overwatch, but people who play Dota think that Overwatch is more toxic, which I don't know that Overwatch is there now. I mean, like there is toxicity, of course, it is there for sure. But
it's in every community. Yeah.
It's different because, so I was really toxic in League. First of all, there's no voice chat, so I can just be a keyboard warrior.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But also in League, the games are a lot longer. So you're stuck in this game for 45 minutes with the same people, and they're like hard throwing. Like, it is really rage inducing.
Now, do you think that, because something for me for Overwatch is at any moment you can turn on the switch and win the game. Like, yeah, you're down. They've capped all three and they've got 5 minutes, but and overtime you barely capped the first point and now you pushed it all the way, and like you had like 1 second left, but that gave you a minute, and they've got 6 minutes now, but you can still win. Like, there's always that. Whereas in like League and Dota, you get behind and you're just slowly dying, and it's So maybe that changes it.
Surrender at 20, baby. FF.
So, Aspen, have you played it? I mean, obviously you've played Overwatch, and we talked about Splatoon, which you haven't. Apparently, you've played casually. But the competitive wise, what got you to be super competitive and make the final jump from streamer and say, you know what, it's time. I want to compete.
Well, so I started grinding Overwatch like hardcore before I streamed. Like, I was grinding, playing Mercy. Like, I wanted to be very good, and I'd say it was pretty decent, right? And then, then a couple months later, I'm like, I realized that if I really want to be good, why am I one-tricking? Like, I'm just making, the game harder. I'm not swapping ever. Got 6 minutes on Lucio. Like, I should really change my ways. So I like started playing other characters, improving. I made new accounts to practice other supports, so I didn't like hard throw my like higher rank games, and then I got a lot better at like Lucio and Ana, and my rank was like still pretty high up there. And then a couple months after that, I'm just like, I kind of want to play like more competitively, because I was swapping from Mercy to other supports, and also going to the Overwatch League Arena, right? So I went to the Overwatch League Arena. Fran was there, and KarQ was there. and like seeing the pros like on stage competing and like the, you know, like just that competitive environment felt so good, and it just felt like it was a really good energy. And watching the Overwatch League, obviously I watched season 1 and season 2, and I want to watch, you know, season 3 obviously. But
You're gonna be part of season 3.
No.
I don't know, man. I want to get better, so like, you know, it's been like over a year that I wanted to go pro now, but like it's the transition from leaving like C9 and joining Revival, and like I was on a tier 3 team for about a month, just like learning what scrims are. But yeah, it's been quite a journey, and I'm excited to like keep learning.
So your drive. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So something that a lot of people, I'm sure you've had in your come in your streams, and they're like, "Oh, why aren't you in Overwatch League? You're good enough to be in Overwatch League." And not to say that you're not, of course, but there is time to be put in. And can you guys explain the difference? We kind of touched on it earlier between scrims and ladder. Like there's you could be the best person on the ladder, but that does not necessarily transition into being the best person or the best person in scrims in a coordinated team environment.
Yeah. So like your ranked SR it's kind of more just like it shows your mechanical skill. Like let's say you're a Widow and you're 4600, like dude, you're an insane Widow, but like maybe you're not so good in like a team scrim environment. Like maybe you don't work as well with your team. Not saying that's not always the case, but it can be. So scrims is just like helping you learn like team mechanics, and like your communication is always really important, knowing your role on the team. And you know, there's a huge difference though.
Oh yeah,
Coachability and like
that too.
Yeah, people are actually receptive to feedback. But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say with scrimming, you don't get away with as much as you would in ranked. So like for example, like preset Ana nades. Like the enemy diva just eats it in scrims.
Yeah.
Like they actually like look out for these things. Like you can't get away with solo queue strats. So you have to learn it's a whole nother game, I feel like.
Well, you have essentially 6 people looking that, I mean, the enemy Ana's looking for that nade because they would have done that. So you kind of have, especially with having the mirror compositions, you're each like keeping him on. I know if I play against a Sombra on ladder, I'm like, she's about to EMP. You need to spread out right now. And, you know, you have that communication. Now, do you think that people on the ladder, let's say someone's stuck at diamond or something, and they're super, you know, good mechanically, do you think that kind of translates to why they can't climb is they're not communicating, they're not using the team aspect, they're trying to kind of play their own game?
I feel like if they're trying to, I find that people who actually try to play their own game and one trick climb a lot higher than people trying to communicate and base ranked off of teamwork. I feel like it's the other way around.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Like I notice, sorry, go ahead.
Can't help, like, let's say you're in diamond, like, you know, like this person's 1 health, or they're gonna have these ults. Telling, like, babying your team can help because sometimes they'll listen, but other times, you know, they'll destroy your game. But it can help, but like Fran said, mechanical skill like can get you very high if you're just very good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, like I said, unlike scrims and ranked, a lot of stuff you can get away with, and that's why I feel like one tricks own ladder because they can get away with like abusing not getting punished, and they would do terrible in a scrim setting. But I feel like in diamond, if you want to climb, I'd say just one trick. I'm gonna be real.
Oh, she said it here first.
You heard it. You want to climb, get the one trick out.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can get away with a lot more in ranked just because you can abuse those like certain flanks that, you know, every game is different, and for the most part, new set of people, and you can just repeat this one flank that seems to work every round because nobody punishes you for it. Sorry.
Yep.
Okay, so you have that. Now that you're scrimming, that competitive drive is still there because this is something you guys want to pursue. Now, you guys have obviously heard about Riot's new FPS game and a lot of new stuff on the horizon. At what point do you go like, okay, do you want to switch? Should I switch? Is it worth it? Or do you want to stick Overwatch out for the long run until it's kind of, you know, at the end of its life cycle?
I feel like with Overwatch, it's like an abusive relationship. Like I'm hooked. I just want to stay no matter like how much they neglect me. So I want to try the new Project A game. However, I still love Overwatch so much. So I'm not sure if I'll make the full switch. Yeah.
So competitively, you guys want to stick to Overwatch for a while, but like you definitely be down to stream, you know, the new shooter or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just right? Casually. Yeah.
For me, okay, people are gonna hate me, but like I'm not a huge CS:GO person, so like Project A doesn't really suit what I'd like because like, you know, FPS, it's like CS:GO, you gotta aim. I like playing Lucio. I like running around the map. But yeah, I have a lot of faith in Overwatch. Like I really want the game to succeed, and I really want to keep playing. So I mean, I'd stick with it until it dies.
Going down with the ship.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, something I like about Overwatch is, you know, like you guys said, it's not CS:GO. They've got the abilities. You can be a Lucio and run on the walls. You can be a Moira and throw purple orbs
and get a random kill across.
Whereas like CS:GO, you know, you peek a corner, boom, your headshot, you're dead. Okay, you're done. That's it.
That's how it feels like against a 4600 Widow, though.
Yeah.
True.
But something with doing this journey, of course, you're going to run into problems or into anything that can stop you from trying to achieve your goals. And I'm sure you've had some people either on the ladder in your chats that, because you guys are a woman, that it's causing people to have not necessarily problems with you, but just like it's a very male dominated not
space.
Organization, but yeah, space. You know, the pro scene, we see there's a lot of guys out there. And so what do you guys do to push past that, and what problems have you guys come across with that?
For me, I have very tough skin. Like I said, I came from Halo, League of Legends. Like I'm really sassy. Like I usually bite back if anyone tries to give me, you know, crap for being a female. I haven't really ran into major obstacles because I'm a girl. If I want to get good at the game, I'm going to grind the game. I'm going to put in my hours, like male or female. Like I have this saying where if you want to climb the ladder, I don't care if you're a girl or boy, expect to get flamed by Baby Bay at least once. Like that's
for sure,
it's like mandatory. So in terms of the grind and climbing ladder and whatnot, I don't think that I have a disadvantage at all.
Yeah, I mean the same with me. Like I haven't ran into like anyone so far in the past like 2 months of scrimming that's been like, oh, you're a girl, you can't play with us, like you're bad. None of that. And like Revival is like they're very good to us and they help us learn and they treat us as if we're like any other normal player.
Yeah.
That's good.
They actually, he said something. One of my coach was like, he was like, I don't know if I'm alled to yell at you, Fran. I'm like, scream at me, shout at me, like, tell me what I need to do better.
Different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't find that you have to try extra hard to like prove yourself within this scene at all because of this, right? So far throughout your experiences in this competitive journey, at least. But what about like? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I do feel a little bit of pressure because I'm being a girl and because I'm a female and I'm representing the ladies in a man's world. But outside of that, like I want to get good. Like I don't want to get good enough as for a girl, you know. I want to get good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Get the rank 1. Let's do it.
More power to you. Hell yeah.
Awesome. KarQ, again.
What? Yeah. Do you have any advice for any other women out there who want to pursue, you know, gaming or streaming or esports or anything in this space?
Honestly, you just gotta kind of do it. Like you gotta have faith in yourself that you can get somewhere, and as long as you believe that you can do it, you definitely can. And no matter what, there's going to be people who will shut you down, but you just gotta kind of ignore that. As hard as it like may be, you just gotta let it go and let the people who actually support you and want you to succeed like help that.
And just a heads up, no matter who you play with, you're gonna get called boosted no matter what.
Yeah.
So That's just what happens when you're a girl in the space.
I think that there's definitely people that call. I mean, there's been plenty of times that I've been called boosted. I'm sure KarQ's been called boosted. It's like, dude, I'd solo queue all the time. I never duo queued. How am I? Oh, you're boosted because the system. You're boosted because this. Like everyone wants an excuse of just like, hey, I don't want to feel like I lost because it was me. It wasn't my fault. I'm gonna scapegoat over here and just move it on.
Genji deflect.
Genji deflect IRL.
Unlucky.
So, if we're talking about, you guys talked about your family earlier and how initially it's kind of difficult to get people on board. And as the years have gone by, I mean, I feel like we can already see it here with Aspen of like, hey, I want to do this. Okay, you can get homeschooled. Whereas it's always like with you with Fran was, no, you're going to college. I don't care. And high school to college, there's kind of that gap where you can decide, okay, what do I want to do with my life? And a lot of people want to, be normal. If you the quote unquote normal,
Right.
Quote unquote normal.
do what they're supposed to do. But how do you think we can get more families involved with being okay with, esports and with streaming as a potential future?
Show them. Literally show them Overwatch League games if they're into Overwatch. Show them streamer numbers. Like, I feel like it wasn't widely accepted before because there was no money in esports. But now, people are making 6 figures, 7 figures off of streaming and playing video games professionally. So I think just literally show them.
Cool.
Not every person has the whatchamacallit, I guess I wouldn't even say luxury, but the ability to be able to dedicate their time to become a streamer or go pro, right? Because of responsibilities. Like, for example, you and Aspen are like, there's a difference in the age gap here, right? Aspen, you just finished high school, you just turned 18. Fran, I believe you're 26. So you went through the college route. Aspen, you ended up doing homeschooling to finish it off while pursuing this dream.
Yep.
Do you have any advice for Aspen specifically for the younger audience and Fran for those going through college? How do you balance that?
The boomer audience.
The boomer audience versus what do you guys call
Zoomer
it?
audience.
Is it actually called Zoomer?
Yeah.
My Zoomers out there. If you truly want to pursue gaming, like putting a couple hours per day into it, like what I started with, like 4 days a week, I'd stream like a couple hours a day. That's what I started with. And then once I started like being more passionate about it, that's when I kind of like amped it up. Pun not intended, but yeah.
See a man over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think passion is definitely something that is required for this. Whether you want to do streaming or professional gaming or really anything, like you just have to find what you're passionate about. And, it isn't for everybody. You're not going to be, you can be in Diamond as playing Overwatch and being Soldier or whatever and trying to say like, oh, I want to go pro. But do you really want to go pro? Do you want to, like Aspen said, set aside, okay, I don't want to be a one track. I want to learn how to do these other things, be these other heroes so I can try to climb try to, not make it as hard on me and my team. I know for me, it was something that was streaming is something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And it was like, how do we get there? I had to take some time, set it aside, get the life together. But then, like you said, now it's becoming more viable. There's more money in it. It's now a reasonable thing. And it takes that type of passion to really drive yourself, because there's going to be the lulls. There's going to be the times where, you're streaming and you've got 2 viewers. Do you really want to be a streamer, or are you just kind of doing it because you're like, I want to play video games for a living?
You have to be realistic, right?
It's not easy for sure. Like,
yeah.
people start from like the bottom up. Like for example, Tim the Tatman, he talks about how he started from like 5 years, even less, and now he's like huge. But for everyone, it's not the case. And Twitch is like Twitch is very hard to like grow from the bottom up.
Yeah. Well, now it is. Back then, the OG streamers like Ninja, they're huge now because they started 10 years ago.
Right.
To answer your question about the boomers, a lot of people in my age range, they all have these other responsibilities.
Right.
Like all of them are like getting married and they have like all these different goals. But if you actually have a goal and passion to, you know, stream or play professionally, I'd say go for it. I mean, like I said, I took the leap of faith. It took 2 years before like my stream blew up. So I would just go for it. And you have to remember this is a competition. Okay.
Sure.
You're not going to randomly wake up with a bajillion viewers overnight. Like you actually have to work really hard and grind.
Right. But with like, I guess as boomers, after graduating college, since you said you moved out right away, you had to support yourself financially. Was the stream enough for you, or were you working elsewhere?
I was working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working. I saved up a bit of money during college as well. I studied pharmacy, not pharmacy. But
pharmacy.
You studied
I studied drugs. And I worked at a retail pharmacy, and I just saved up a little bit of money to move out.
See, that's like a big difference between trying to go in this route or this path at that age versus Aspen. You're still, I believe you're still living at home. You have the support of your parents. The stream recently blew up. I guess, I don't know your financial situation, but like the savings are only across like the past, like, you know, maybe year or two compared to, you know, the 10-year history that Fran has. So that entire, I think that's so interesting though. Like you guys are on the same path towards the same goal right now to make it to the pro, but there's like such a unique perspective from both sides.
Yeah.
And honestly, more power to you guys. I'm proud of where you're both at right now.
Thank you.
I'll see him on the main stage any moment.
Yeah,
now.
we'll see you on the main stage next year. Seriously. Good stuff, guys. Okay.
So we talked about the metas earlier and having the pretty much like one singular-ish meta. How do you guys think about, should the game be balanced around having, obviously the meta is going to change depending on whatever they change, but do you think that it should be a mirror composition most of the time, or would you guys want to have like they're running goats, obviously goats can't happen now, but they're running goats, let's do this 4 DPS composition?
And this is with the assumption that there is no 222 lock, or
we'll go back to 222. I'm just thinking of when goats was a thing. It was kind of like, okay, now that we've got the 3 tanks, 3 supports, what can we do to beat that? And the composition that came out was, let's run 4 DPS and 1 support and 1 tank, and that seemed to be pretty good against it, depending on the maps and whatnot. So do you think that with a 222, let's say they've got Orisa Sigma, should we have something like a Bastion Junkrat be able to
I see,
almost like a rock, paper, scissors, but not quite as extreme?
No.
I think there should be hero bans.
I have been preaching hero bans for like a year and a half, so I'm with you
think
with
it's
that
just the same heroes will be banned every game though, wouldn't?
Maybe not.
Wouldn't it?
I kind of think of it as there's going to be like a tier of bans. So like, let's say currently it's double shield, so everyone's going to ban Orisa. And then there's going to be a second meta revolved around a banned Orisa. Or if, let's say each team gets 1 ban per team, and, let's say it's like, oh, I know that team always plays Symmetra and they're amazing, let's ban Symmetra. And then they have like a new meta I think hero bans would be really healthy for the game. I would love that if they implemented that. I'm not a big fan of the mirror metas, only because they take so long to patch and have a different meta. If they patch that shit every month and we had a new meta every month, I'd be happy. But because it takes so long and you're hard stuck on this meta for ages, that's where it feels we're neglected, this sucks, it's boring, and the game's dying, etc.
So to talk about hero bans, I think that gives something to, it's like you're giving power to the players to almost balance the game themselves. Obviously they're not, we're not making balance changes, but
Mhm.
we're being like, you know what? Brigitte's super oppressive right now. Let's get rid of that for this game. And like, you can at least have like, let's say 50% of your games doesn't have something that you're like super frustrated against playing against. And I think that could even work on the ladder in a different way. Do you think that the pro scene and the ladder should be not necessarily balanced different, but pick ban? I mean, we can't really have picks, but ban wise, do you think that's something that should just go to the ladder or just go to the pro scene? Or do you think that's something that could also work on the ladder?
I would love it on the ladder
Oh my God, me
because
too.
you can eliminate one tricks. That's like a huge one trick fix right there.
So
I
Like,
think
learn
that's
how
when we
to
have to
adapt.
unprivate profiles then. Like,
Yeah.
you can't have that. You can't have that then.
remove
If you
private
want to do
profiles.
targeted bans, if you're going to do targeted bans, and everybody's profile or like, you know, pressing the button to like
Yeah.
hover over everybody's name to see who they main could actually add the strategic value to it. But
Yeah,
as it
no,
stands,
absolutely.
I feel like if it was implemented in ladder now, though, as it stands, people would just default to banning the same hero or same two heroes, because that's the
Yeah.
same thing that happened with League for the longest time. People were like, we don't want to play
Right.
Zed or
That's
against
exactly right.
Yasuo, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But then there's like doing that makes the game have multiple metas. Like you're gonna have a meta where
Right.
Orisa's banned, or you can have a meta where Sigma's banned, or like
Yeah.
or you have a meta where Doomfist banned. That's like 3 different metas right there, or
That's
3
true.
different comps.
I think what we've seen also with like the previous patches is if we go back to Dive, like, you know, we're talking like 2 years ago, it was like Dive, where obviously, you know, there's 5 or 6 core heroes there, and getting rid of Devo like kind of breaks that and forces another meta. Like you maybe you do Winston Zarya, maybe you do. Anyways, so then the next meta we had was like the Moth meta, where Mercy was like 100% pick rate, and having that ban
Gross.
on Mercy makes it so you don't have that 100% of the games. And I think, like you said about, you know, you don't want to play the same thing where it doesn't get patched for 3 months, and giving us the ability to like, okay, I'm okay with playing against Orisa Sigma. I just don't want to play it every single game. Like, okay, you know, 50%, I'll
Yeah.
take that. But I think it's just the repetition of having the exact same game on different maps, but pretty much play out the same way. So I'm totally with you on the bans. Aspen, what do you think about the bans?
I think it'd be like fun because obviously you're playing different metas. Let's say you get against like a really good Widow player. Sometimes I don't like playing against Widow, so I might want to ban that character. But how would you decide, like, how would the teammates like ban a hero? Would it be like most voted hero gets banned, or like what?
So I think that can be all figured out later, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's more the fact
True.
of would hero bans be good and healthy for the game? And after that, you can decide whatever works appropriate or whatever makes everyone feel like they have a voice to be heard. I think that having, like, if you have 6 people on your team, you guys all pick one and then it randomly selects one of them. But if you're playing scrims, then it like you can vote on one. Obviously, you're on a team.
Yeah.
You're hopefully not fighting with your team over who you should ban.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that's what I was kind of asking about. You know, should the ranked and scrims be different on how they work that? I don't know if League has a different ban system on the ladder and pro scene, but I know Dota does.
League doesn't.
No,
It's the same.
Really?
Mhm.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting.
To your question, I feel like it should be both in ranked and scrims, because how are people going to practice for scrims or outside of scrims? I feel like the environments should always be the same throughout. That's just my opinion, though.
Sure.
Oh, whether to have it just specifically for pro play.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you guys are both healers.
Yeah.
Healers. What brought you to healers? Obviously, Aspen, your Mercy one trick. Is that where you started at? Or you were at Mercy one trick, rather. Sorry.
Was. Yeah.
I tried to say was on. But is that where you started? Was that like the first year, like, oh, I want to play Mercy and she's awesome?
No, I actually started maining Soldier and like Pharah. Like I was very bad at Soldier because I couldn't aim very well on a laptop. But once I started playing a lot of soldier and ranked, I would never get healers, and that would make me frustrated. I'd be like, dude, I just want some healing, man. Like, I have a healing pad. I want a pocket. So I was just like, all right, heck it. I'm going to suck up to the team and play a support. So that's when I picked up like Mercy, Lucio, and Ana. And then I went to Mercy one trick because I realized Mercy was my best. But yeah, that's where it kind of started.
I heard you have some weird settings for Mercy too, don't you?
Well, I use all the default settings, which people don't recommend, but like I find that it's the most easiest for me since I've been using it for so long.
Which ones were those again? Do you have I think you don't.
Shoot.
I think most people use toggle on for like beam and toggle off for guardian angel.
Yeah, so I have to
think you're the
click
opposite.
to heal. Yeah, I hold down click.
Or like you hold the button down, right? Does
Yeah,
your finger ever
yeah.
get tense? I always thought like it was...
Never, dude. I spam spacebar all day because I play Lucio.
Oh God, my thumb falls off. I can't do that.
You don't bind for
By
Lucio.
now.
You don't bind jump on mouse wheel.
No, I can't. Like, I don't know. I'm not that good at just scrolling. You know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
this
just
is
spam.
I found out that not everybody uses their middle finger to scroll on the mouse wheel.
No.
Do you guys use your index or middle finger? Naturally, if you're like browsing, just
I would do
the
my
internet.
pointer finger.
Your pointing
because, like,
finger. Really?
yeah, because I do it like this, right? Like my middle
you
finger's
lift-
on my right click.
Then you lift up that finger to scroll.
Yes.
I use middle finger. I just
Yeah.
realized that. I didn't even know I did.
That's exactly. That's why I felt it was so natural for people to use or to bind jump to scroll wheel. I think that's a lot of CS:GO players did. If you guys did play CS:GO, to bunny hop or any other game, jumping on mouse wheel was always natural to get like a bunch of inputs. And so I'm actually surprised you guys don't use that. Well, I'm not surprised now that I know you use your pointer finger.
I use my
Hey,
pointer
I
finger
came from
too, so
Minecraft, all right?
You do?
yeah.
Fitzy?
Yeah.
Oh my.
That's why you don't
Good
see me on
job, Fitzy.
Lucio. Get me off the frog. I don't got scroll wheel to use. My thumb can't handle that.
Have you guys tried knowing that you guys are support players? I know, Fran, you're mostly on nail jail right now, but do you bind scroll wheel to secondary fire? Or
No, why
private
would I
grasp? Oh.
just hold down right click? Wait, why?
Well, if you do the
What?
rapid input, you get the heal juice way faster. If
Well,
you,
if you know how to max min efficiently, you don't have to worry about that.
Oh,
That's a little gimmicky
You
in my
tell me
opinion.
you've never run out. You've never run out of heal juice.
You've never run out of P juice?
I use a lot more healing orbs nowadays, so I don't.
Gotta go full purple orb. It's the only way to go.
That's toxic.
Purple orb only. Okay.
So, Fran,
That's fair.
where did you start with your hero pool?
Right. I was actually a Widow one trick.
Oh,
for-
okay, a little different.
So it was before Ranked came out. There was a period, but when the game released before season 1, it was only quick play. And
I think we're all different mains at that point. Aren't we?
Yeah, I was a whole nother person. I just played Widow for hours. I was a Widow one trick. And then season 1 came out. I was a Reaper soldier. I think that was the meta then. And then I played Zenyatta in quick play. So I had a bunch of my girlfriends 6-stack with me in quick play, and we all picked Zenyatta on Volskaya, and we attacked. We were on attack, and we capped both points in 30 seconds. And I'm like, I'm gonna main Zenyatta. This is awesome because he
my
heals and he does damage. No way.
Did you say 6 Zenyatta? Oh yeah.
There's no hero.
There's no hero limit. No, a throwback.
Was that when you had 150 HP? I think you had 200 by then, right?
I was a squishy. No, it was 150.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. The
But you
widow
could
body
stack
shot.
orbs?
This
Oh
was
my
50%,
God.
right?
Oh, you could stack orbs?
Yeah, you could stack orbs. Okay, what you do is you go 5 Zens and 1 Genji, and you all put heal orb on him, and you just Discord orb the rest of the team, and he just dash resets over. It's insane. It's so addicting.
That needs to be in arcade mode. Throwback.
So then you stuck with the Zen.
Yeah, I stuck with Zen, and then towards the end of season 2, and then Ana got released, and then I fell in love because it was a sniper, because
Yeah,
I was
right,
already
Widow.
a Widow one trick, and then healer at the same time. Yeah.
Like those damage and healing. Gotcha. So
Mhm.
Moira's perfect then. You get to,
Yeah.
you get to throw a purple orb out there.
Yeah, totally.
Fun.
Kind of Zen.
Smile.
All right. Well, we're getting a little low on time, so we're gonna move on to some of the viewers' questions. So we've got a couple here. For the older teens and younger adults right now, what advice would you give people who are struggling in college in dealing with issues like self-worth, because grades seem so important? I think a lot of your viewers probably know what this is like.
For me, I would say drop out. It is not worth going into debt for. It is just, I didn't even do anything with my degree, and I was in student loan debt out of college. It just, I personally would rather make no money doing what I love than a lot of money doing something I hate. That's just my opinion. And I feel like this is also a really hot take, but I think it's outdated now to go to college for a job. Half the time, they don't even accept your application because you don't have experience.
Well,
you
that
just
cycle, right? That loop. That and the what do you call that? Catch-22. It's like you need experience to get this job.
Yeah, they don't even look at you. Yeah.
You get the job, you just need experience. So just
get it. You get the experience
without
the job.
Yeah.
So Aspen, I think you're not going to college right now, right? 'Cause you just finished high
Absolutely
school.
not. Yeah.
Okay.
No, college is like, I was thinking about it when I was like transferring to online school. Like maybe I'll just do online college. And then I was gaming every single day for hours and hours. I'm like, why would I go to college when I just want to be a gamer? Like, what profession can I do that I can't do like what I am right now? I can just play games. I don't need a degree to play games. I don't need a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you would in the future? Is something to consider, or is it for now at this time? Can't think too far. Just focus on.
Yeah, I'm kind of just focused on right now. Like, if it lets that where I absolutely have to go to college, maybe, but like, I really don't want to. It doesn't look fun. It doesn't seem fun. I hated school, and like, I didn't hate learning, but just school was kind of unfun to me, and playing Overwatch 10 hours a day is way more fun.
I think it's true for most people. Like, people don't mind learning. People love learning and like being educated. I just think, I guess the school system itself isn't the best because it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, when I graduated, I got my 4-year degree in pharmacy. The best job I could get was a tech, which is the lowest entry level job at a pharmacy, at a Walmart, and I was literally making like $6 an hour. And I was busting my ass. I did more work than my pharmacist, so it was just. I was like, man, like this is miserable, and I'm in debt, and this is gonna take me years to pay off debt, and I need years of experience to get a promotion. I don't recommend it, but that's just from my personal experience. Everyone has their own life paths. My parents didn't pay for my college, so I definitely didn't like the job that I was working. Yeah.
And I think that gives a little more perspective of once you're paying for it, it's like, do I really want this? Do I really want to do this? When it's your own money on the line, you're like, I'm paying how much to get this little piece of paper? Am I going to use this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I started college back in 2011, and I am still not done. It's been a long path with various different routes involving streaming at the beginning and still involving streaming. But yeah, I had to set streaming aside because, as we were talking about earlier, about it being viable than just like the beginning of Justin TV. When you were partnered, there wasn't a sub button, so it was Twitch was a little different then, but it's definitely now it's gotten a lot easier to, if you're having a reasonable amount of success, that it's viable to at least to like, you know, eat and survive.
Yeah.
On that note, do you guys have any tips? This is another viewer question. Do you have any tips for people who want to get into streaming but aren't sure where to start or how to get the word out about their channel?
Do you want to go, Aspen, or?
So if you want to start streaming, just do it. Just click the start streaming. Make sure you have like whatever streaming software. Like I use OBS, but just click start streaming. Maybe ask a few of your friends to watch you if you're like just starting, or
your mom.
Your mom. Get
your
some
phone, your iPad, your phone, the laptop upstairs. Just get them all into the stream.
Everything. Yeah, but you can start there, and if you're like, what do you guys think about like self-promo in games? Like I don't know about this one, but because you can get in a game, plug your Twitch in the chat or whatever, and some people might come to your stream, but I don't know if I'd advise that. If you really want to, you can.
I feel like those people will never stay regardless. Maybe they'll come in for like 10 seconds.
It
and
depends.
just see what happened.
It depends.
I think
if you're really entertaining.
Well, if you had a really good game, let's say you're popping off on the quick play Widow, and they're like, damn, this Widow, she's awesome. I want to check. And then you're like, hey, look, I got a Twitch. And you're like, okay, I'll go watch see if this Widow kicks some ass.
That's literally how like I got my stream out. I would get insane quick play Widow clips and I would post it on Twitter. And keep in mind, like there was no ranking system then. So like you can be put in a game with bronzes.
Right.
And so that's how a lot of people are like, oh, like, do you stream? Like, I want to watch you play. So that's how I got my word out at first.
Twitter is good for that.
What do you think was your turning point, Aspen, specifically for your streams?
So I started streaming and I had like quite a few viewers already. I had like 20, and I guess people liked watching my stream because I one-tricked Mercy. Like some people would just be like, oh, you one-tricked this character. I like playing that character. I'm gonna watch. So that's what I did. And I slowly grew. Over time, people started noticing me in other streamers' games. I don't self-promo on any streamer, trust me, but people started noticing me, and then like I say, growth is exponential. So if you have like 100 viewers, yeah, and then obviously I got signed to Cloud9, and then I did a best set event with Blizzard, and that kind of helped my stream a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think for a lot of people that want to start streaming is, what do you want to share, and what do you want to, do you want to talk to people? Do you want to share that you're a really good Mercy? Do you want to share that you're a really good Widow and that you can beat bronze in quick plays and look like a badass? And you have to have something that makes people want to watch you. Like what do you have that's different than other people? What do you, again, for me, it was playing Sombra and being educational about Sombra, because there was nobody that was playing Sombra, and so I was like, this is how you do it. And I think a lot of people think that streaming, as much as it is push the button and start streaming, because of course you have to do that, you have to get comfortable, but you have to figure out what it is that you provide that's kind of unique and fun, or that makes people want to come back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that can be more than just like your gameplay too. Like it could be your personality. Like there's a lot of streamers who are like big personalities, and they like get viewers, a lot of viewers, because people just like watching them and will watch them whatever game they play.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I think we're just at about out of time. So where can we find you guys? Or if you haven't heard of Aspen or Fran, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Fran. It's just 4 letters. And then on Twitter, I'm Frana_OW. And same thing with Instagram, Frana_OW.
For me, my Twitch is just Aspen. My Twitter is Aspen_OW. And my Instagram, I don't really use it, but it's Aspen.OW.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for watching and listening to the FitzQ podcast. This will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Anchor, Breaker, RSS feed, all that good stuff. So you can listen to us there next time. So with that being said, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
Busy days for coming out and speaking with us.
All right,
take care,
that's
guys.
from us, and we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you for having us.